And so I'm going to bring on right now my good friend, Josh Bender. Josh is a history teacher out of Nevada. And I know he used to be a host on this show, really good friend of mine, like I said. And he has a lot to say about seeking solutions for gun violence in schools, everything. So he's going to help me with the rest of the show and talk a lot about this. So, Josh, starting off, what do you think? You heard my first half hour, 40 minutes. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think you were pretty accurate on a good portion of it, especially when it comes to things like gun violence, mass shooting, and mental health. I mean, mental health is one thing I was going to touch on a lot. Um, I think you're spot on there. We have a mental health crisis. That's our biggest thing. And you said a great thing there, which was the candidate that kind of runs on that will win. I 100% agree.
Yeah. Okay. So how do we solve these then? How do we, what, as a teacher, so I've seen a lot of things come out in the last week from, there's like these posts on Facebook, on Twitter, whatever, where it's like, I'm a teacher and every day I go to school and I've had this thought and I get scared when there's I don't want to sound like I'm whining, but some of the way that it reads sounds like it's whining. And I'm sure you can agree with that or to an extent. There's people that are like, every time I hear a fire alarm, I'm worried. Every time that there's an announcement made at school, I'm worried, all these things. How do we address that? And how to, as a teacher, how do we address school shootings and making sure our kids are safe in schools?
Yeah, well, first I want to put this out. Everything I say here is my opinion, representative only of me. I'm not speaking for teachers as a whole. I'm not speaking for my employer or anything like that. It's just me. But I've seen those posts too. And I think the ones that made me upset, and this is kind of how we started talking about doing this, was the posts that were people speaking on behalf of teachers, of who aren't teachers, who maybe know one or two, but have never been in a classroom, never want to be in a classroom. They're the ones saying, this is what teachers feel. I mean, I put out on my Instagram story, I was like, stop speaking for me. Mm-hmm. Stop acting like speak for me, because you don't. Now, when people do approach me and they say, do you have this fear? I mean, I'll be honest, of course I do. You have the thought, you have the worry. I mean, that's why we have drills. That's why we have procedures. I talk to my students about it. I'm real with them. I say, hey, if something goes down, I mean, I'm not going down without a fight for sure. Grab what you can in this room. Grab a chair. I have multiple pairs of scissors. I mean, grab what you can and be ready, because I'm not gonna go down. And you know what? If we got to stand here, we will. If we got to take a stand, we will, because that's how it's gonna go. And you know, it's sad that that's where we're at as a society. I agree. I think even my sister sent me a TikTok of a teacher who said she tells her students to take a backpack, put it in front of them, and put books in it, like put textbooks in it.
I've heard that.
Yeah, and like you know, because I mean, most AR-15s are 22, and so it's not going to stop it, but it could slow it down enough to not cause serious harm. I mean, Teddy Roosevelt was shot by a 22 in the chest, and his thick speech saved his life. Like, it really is. It can be that simple. And so I don't really know how to stop the problem. I think the big thing is you're right. It's going to keep happening. People will always be evil. There's evil in this world. The things we can do, though, is prevent people from who are mentally ill from acquiring these weapons or feeling this way, that they need to do this. Finding a way to make sure schools are better secure, and making sure that there are ways to put down someone if they do enter the building. And overall, just talking to people in the schools instead of letting politicians run their mouths, because that's what they're doing right now. And both sides are doing it.
Yeah. So do you think that should there be any kind of federal legislation on this? Do you think that it needs to stem from the federal government, or like what kind of laws are we looking at here? Is gun control the solution? What from a teacher's perspective, like, where do we start?
Yeah.
But I also do want to be clear too. I really do like the ideas that you're bringing up, to talk to, and I think a lot of schools do kind of do this and I remember my mom was a teacher, and she said that it's not if, it's when you have that
right
about a school shooting. You don't talk about if it happens, you talk about when it happens.
When, right, exactly.
Because any school, what happened in Nashville could be any school right now. And I know that's scary to say, but it could be.